Hello, Wisconsin. I am happy to be back with you again as we are preparing for your annual conference sessions. As you are getting ready to have clergy session, laity, and annual conference, this is the training so you know about all the updates and improvements since last year. Zoom has made some substantial improvements, has a couple new features we're going to highlight tonight and walk you through all of the features and how they'll be used this year. And then we're going to turn our attention to a custom voting website just for the Wisconsin Annual Conference. And that site will allow you to vote and to get recognized to speak and address the conference. We're going to start first with Zoom, and we're going to take a look at the closed captioning feature. The closed captioning feature is a great way for you to get assistance if it is helpful for you to read along with what is being said during annual conference. To utilize this feature, click on the CC icon. If you are trying to find these icons on a computer or a tablet, move the mouse over the screen, perhaps tap where you see the slide that is on your screen, and then you should see some menu icons appear. Click on the one that says CC or Live Transcription. Open that, and you'll have an option to show subtitles. Once you have the subtitles on, you will find that this AI transcription works pretty well. It does struggle with a few names or proper places, and a couple of Methodist words seem to be hit or miss, like jurisdictional. But we have found overall that this works extremely well, and I hope it is of a benefit to you. So we want to look at some of those other features that we will use in the Zoom webinar. Where you found that closed captioning icon, we want you to try and find three other key icons. That is the chat, raise hand, and Q&A icons. All three of these icons are available to you, and we're going to walk through what each does and how to use them. If you are not finding these icons, remember you may want to move your mouse over the screen and click on the slide that is up. If you are going to be using a portable device to watch the Zoom meeting, then you might have to look for these icons or their names a little bit differently. On a cell phone or a tablet, to find this list, you have to click on either three bars in the corner or three dots in another corner, and it will pull down a list that helps you find the keywords chat, raise hand, and Q&A. Right now, we want to turn our attention to the chat feature. Chat is going to be disabled and will not be available for conference participants to use. We found that people tried to make speeches and bring information before the body that was not recognized by the bishop, which is how your standing rules work. However, we will be using the chat feature to make important announcements and share information that is for everyone to have access to. Right now, my team has posted a sample announcement in the chat. If you are looking at this icon, you should have seen a small red indicator dot appear. It may have even had a number in the middle of it. Click on that chat icon, open up the chat window, and look for this sample announcement. Later today, we are going to be sharing with you some important information about the technology we are using. First, we will share with you the link to get to the voting website, and then we will spend some time and share with you our tech support information. You are free to call us anytime you would like, and we'll share that number here shortly. Okay, so that's the chat feature. Keep an eye on it for important announcements that happen throughout the annual conference. Next up is the raise hand feature. The raise hand feature is how our tech team finds you when you are called upon by the bishop. So you will notice looking at this icon that if you click on it, the words change from raise hand to lower hand. When your hand is down, not raised, it says raise hand. When your hand is raised, the words change to say lower hand. Now I can see that some of you have already started giving this a try. I would like to invite all of you now to raise your hand and leave it up. So I'm asking you to click on the raise hand icon so that the words change to say lower hand, and then you can leave your hand up because I want to demonstrate one other feature that our tech team has that impacts the raise hand feature. So I can see that many of you have raised your hand and left it up for me. That's great. Some have gone up and gone down. Please go ahead. I'm going to give you just a few more seconds to raise your hand. I would like to see all of you seeing the words lower hand. Okay, we're getting close. Just a couple more seconds. Go ahead and click that raise hand icon. Remember, if you are having trouble finding these icons, try clicking where you see my face or clicking on the app in your tablet. So either click on that app or click on my face with your mouse. That will pull up the icons in many cases. Okay, now we're going to lower all hands. By lowering all hands, you can see that your words have changed back to raise hand. As a reminder, you will not get recognized by raising your hand. To get recognized, you must use the feature that we are going to talk about a little later in our training. So, if your hand says raise hand, your hand is lowered. If your hand says lower hand, your hand is raised. Finally, let's take a look at the Q&A feature. So last year, you may recall, we used the Q&A feature for all of the submissions to the conference. It is going to be used a little differently this year. We are only going to use the Q&A feature in order to ask basic informational and technical questions of our GNTV team. We are talking about the kind of questions that you might walk out to the help desk or the registration desk at your annual conference in order to participate and to ask, but you would not ask a question here this year that is going to be asked of a presenter or the bishop. The Q&A is only being used for basic informational questions this year. It is the new Get Recognized feature that is part of the voting website where you will participate this year in making sure you can get recognized and speak and address the annual conference as is appropriate. So let's go ahead and practice though with this Q&A feature. I'm going to invite all of you to click on this Q&A icon. I would like you to open this feature and you'll see a text box. In that text box, would you type for me the name of your church and the city you are in? The name of your church and the city, and then go ahead and click that submit button to send that message through. Some of you already have this started. That's great to see. I can see Tom and Mary and Bill and Sarah and Susan and Joyce are all here. That is fantastic. I am glad you are here today. What I'm looking for right now, and what I'm going to ask you to look for, is how your name shows up in this application. In most applications right now, in that Q&A feature, you should be seeing above your submission the same name we are seeing. Now, on Android tablets, this is not true yet. You are seeing the word you or myself. But if you are not on an Android tablet, then you should be seeing a version of your name. So, right now, go back to that window, look for your name. If you are not seeing your name, then I need you to do something when this session is over tonight. You need to update your Zoom. Zoom has continued to make a variety of privacy and security updates, and one of those rolled out a feature where you can see what your name is in a webinar. This is helpful because I noticed today there are a couple of you here as church names. There was someone here as First UMC. That is not particularly helpful as there's more than one First UMC in the world. So there are several others of you here only with a first name, no last name, and there's one that I saw that looked like an email address. It was a combination of letters and numbers. We need your name. Just like last year, we asked you to make sure we had your name in this Zoom webinar. So in this Q&A submission, look to see what it shows you. That is what we are seeing. What we want you to do is remember to type in a full name when you join. If you were prompted with a pop-up window that asks you for a name and an email address when you joined this session today, enter a full name and a valid email address. If you were not prompted to enter a name, this means you have a Zoom account. That's probably how the people from First UMC got here today. They have a Zoom account already set up on the computer they're using, and my guess is it auto-populated their name. Our suggestion is that you consider logging out of Zoom in order to be able to enter your name when attending the annual conference session. That just helps make sure we're all on the same page. So as we finish up our conversation about Zoom, I just want to remind you about checking for updates. In order to be able to fully participate, you need to be on one of the most recent versions of Zoom. If you are prompted after this session today to update your Zoom, please do that. You can also go on a PC up to File and click there and choose Check for Updates, or on a Mac you click on where it says zoom.us and there is a Check for Updates option under that. And finally, if you're on a cell phone or a tablet, just go into the App Store and look for the option to update your Zoom application. This is the way that you will fully participate, and if we call on you, be recognized to participate. The final item I want to point out to you during this session today is about the unmute feature. Right now, some of you are probably looking for a microphone. You cannot see this as an attendee unless you are recognized by the bishop and prompted by our tech team. When you are called upon by the bishop, you will receive a prompt from our tech team. So we ask you to raise your hand, and then we want you to be able to be found and prompted to speak. When you are prompted to speak, you would see an unmute button show up on your screen in a pop-up box like you saw in that graphic. This unmute myself button has to be clicked by you. We cannot turn your microphone on without your assistance, and we cannot help you be successful unless you agree. As we prepare to move into the GNTV voting system and how you will get recognized for annual conference, I want to invite you to make a note of our tech support phone number. On the screen right now, you can see our tech support phone number. This phone number is available to you, and it is 478-245-4042. That's 478-245-4042. Go ahead and write this phone number down, take a picture of the screen, tape it to your favorite desk, make a Post-it note on your favorite computer monitor. Make sure you have this tech support phone number for our virtual annual conference session. As we move forward today into the voting platform, I need your help. We need everyone to think about the web browser you want to use. You might want to use a second device like a cell phone or a tablet to load the voting website, or it might be easier for you to do it on the same device you're already on. We need you to go to the Wisconsin voting website. That address is on the screen for you to see. The Wisconsin address is wiac.gntvmedia.com. You see that on the bottom of your screen? You need to open it in a program like Safari, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, or Internet Explorer. That web address, once again, is wiac.gntvmedia.com. Opening that web address will help you get to the right place. So you all are looking at a login once you get there for your voter ID. Once everyone is there, we will go ahead and log in. If you have your voter ID, go ahead and enter that. If not, we'll have a practice ID. If you are still working on loading this website, I would like you to go back where you see me, look in the chat of the Zoom webinar, and you're going to see a link you can click on. It'll be blue and it will start out with the letters https://wiac.gntvmedia.com. Go and click on that link. It will help you open a web browser and get directly to the voting website. Hopefully by now you are all there and you're entering your voter ID if you have it, or we have a practice voter ID. Voter IDs are being distributed by the conference in email, so you might search for that. It's voter if you need it. But your voter ID should be in your inbox somewhere. If not, you can use our practice ID tonight. That is 123456. And then after this session, reach out and get your voter ID. So practice for tonight is 123456. Once you enter your voter ID, you click that blue submit button, and then you are ready to participate. You'll see a green load ballot button, an orange get recognized button, and you're going to see a message that says no ballots currently available for your voting class. You are in the right place. We're going to start with that orange button, the Get Recognized feature. This is how you are going to get called upon by the bishop to participate in the business of annual conference. So if you want to bring something before the body, to make a speech for or against, to request a moment of personal privilege, whatever you want to do, you use this button and the form that is opening by it to get recognized. So click that link, click that orange box, open this form. It starts out by prompting you for your name, and then it asks you what you want to do, make a choice out of the list of options, and then at the bottom there's an area for text. If you are bringing a motion or an amendment, text is required so that our tech team and the secretaries have that in writing and we can show it on the screen for everyone to see in this virtual setting. If you are asking a question or making a point of order, it is incredibly helpful for you to include that text also. So I'm asking everyone to practice. Several of you have started. Maybe 25% of you have popped in a submission so far. I'd like everyone to practice. Now is the time to practice. It is great for you to practice and be prepared today, because if you try to practice during annual conference and you send in your favorite flavor of ice cream perhaps, that'll be distracting to the bishop. The bishop is watching your submissions in a Q document. As those submissions come in, they work through in the way they come in. The bishop guides us following your rules, but all of you will not get recognized. Let's say you're debating. You have some speeches for, speeches against, questions, and then someone calls the question. When someone calls the question, if that passes, everything that comes in after that then will be out of order. Your standing rules, the parliamentary rules you follow, guide you through this work and help you process the business that comes before the annual conference in all of its sessions. And so following this, everyone often doesn't get recognized. Our record last year was about a dozen people choosing to call the question in a 1-minute period. That's a lot of people who decided they were finished debating an issue. That passed, and those other 11, the first one got recognized, and the other 11 did not get recognized, along with some people who had questions or a desire to speak, because that's how the rules of the parliamentary process work. So if you are still trying to get into the voting website to load this Get Recognized form, let's walk through those steps one last time. Click on the link in the chat. So go to Zoom where you see me, click on chat, and you're going to find the link https://wiac.gntvmedia.com. Click on that link. It will open a web browser right here where you're watching me. Enter the password, the voter ID, the test voter ID 123456. That is 123456. Click submit, and then you will see the green button, the orange button, and the no ballots currently available. If this is not working for you, please call our tech support team. Most of you have used this, and that is fantastic. We'd like to see everybody finish this up. That tech support number on your screen gets you to our team, and we can help you be successful. As we finish this up, if you are ready to close that tab, just click on the top where there's an X and you'll see the completed submission tab close, and it should take you back to the voting website where you see the green and the orange boxes with the message about voting. We're now going to turn our attention to that voting, and we want you to watch this short video about the updated voting process.
Thanks again for joining our conference member training session. Let's talk about voting. We recommend using a second device for the online voting website. Please note, the online voting website is separate from the Zoom webinar. You will need to have the voting website pulled up in addition to the Zoom webinar. This enables you to stay engaged in the Zoom webinar and access the voting website without switching between applications on the primary device. For instance, if you're viewing the Zoom webinar on your computer, then use your phone, tablet, or another computer to log into the voting website. This will help you stay engaged in the conference and still be ready to vote at any time. If you do not have another device available, that's okay too. Use another browser or another tab in your current browser to access the voting website in order to stay engaged in the Zoom webinar during the voting process. So to begin, open a web browser such as Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Microsoft Edge, or Internet Explorer on that secondary device. Go to the web address assigned to your conference. This will be a set of letters referencing your conference, followed by .gntvmedia.com. A link to the online voting website will also be posted in the Zoom webinar chat for easy access. Once on the voting website, please enter your voter ID number and click Submit to log into the website. When it is time to vote, the presiding bishop will announce, "The ballot is now open," or something similar. At this time, please click the green Load Ballot button. Make your selection or selections for the open ballot and click the blue Submit Vote button. A message will be displayed letting you know that your vote has been recorded. At this point, you will have the option to change your vote by clicking the Update Vote button. You may modify your vote until the presiding bishop closes the ballot. If you need assistance, look at the bottom of the screen and click the yellow Click Here button, or call the tech support number listed on the screen. Once your vote has been recorded, please return your attention to the Zoom webinar on your primary device as the conference continues.
We are getting very close to taking our first practice ballot. Before we do that, I just want to walk through the steps one last time. All of you by now should be on the conference voting website. You will load this website, then you will enter your voter ID and click the blue Submit button. And then, because there is no ballot open, you should be seeing the message, "No ballots currently available for your voting class." Once the bishop opens a ballot, you will click the green Load Ballot button. Clicking the green Load Ballot button when a ballot is open loads that for you to make your choice. Then you will have the ability to click yes or no, making your choice about the issue before the body, and then clicking the blue Submit Vote button. After you do that, I want to point out to you that you will see a confirmation message if everything has gone correctly, a small green box and the words, "Thank you for your vote." That means that your vote has been submitted and that everything is ready. You will also notice, if you are using your unique voter ID, that the words change, and that doesn't happen unless we are only allowing unique voter IDs. And so you may not see that today, but the Update Vote button will appear during annual conference. That Update Vote button means that you have the ability to modify your vote, and I'll explain how that works in just a couple minutes. Okay, those are the steps, and now we are going to get ready to take our first practice ballot. So the question we're going to ask today in our first practice ballot is, are you excited about annual conference? So, On the slide on your screen, I want to point out a few key things. First, the voting website is in the top right-hand corner of the screen. That is in blue. Then you will see the question you are being asked, and then down at the bottom you will see the tech support phone number. This ballot is not open yet. You have to wait for the bishop to open the ballot. I am going to go ahead and declare this ballot open. If you're on the voting website now, you can click the green Load Ballot button. Clicking the green Load Ballot button pulls up this question for you, gives you the options, yes or no, and then you can make your choice and click that blue Submit Vote button. So we are working through the steps of successfully voting. The conference website in the top right-hand corner is how you get to the voting platform. You do need your voter ID or the practice voter ID if it's available today on the screen to be able to vote. And then you will need to click the green Load Ballot button. So right now, we're going to give you a little bit of time to walk through this process. If this is not going well for you, I want to direct you to the tech support phone number on the bottom of the screen. That tech support phone number is 478-245-4042. Please go ahead and give us a call so that we can help you be successful. We're going to go a little slower with this first practice ballot. I'm going to give you a little more time. But if this is not going well for you, I would like to invite you to raise your hand. So stop working on voting, go back to the Zoom application where you see the voting slide, and click on the Raise Hand feature. Raise your hand and leave that up until you are able to successfully vote. So there are a few hands going up. That's fine. We expect to see that. We want to help you be successful. If you don't think this is going to work out easily for you, please call our tech support team. We will call you back if we are all busy, but leave us a message and let us know what you're working with, and we will be glad to help you be successful. Going to give you just a little bit more time. I see some hands going down. That is great. Remember that if you are having trouble getting to the voting website, you can click in the chat on the link to open a web browser on your device. Okay, we have seen a number of hands go down, and I am preparing to close this ballot. So this ballot is now closed. Closing the ballot means we start the tabulation process. We are taking the results, verifying them quickly, and then preparing the slide that you're going to see. While we're waiting on that, I want to talk to you about your unique voter ID. We ask you not to share your voter ID because everyone has the ability to update their vote. So let's just say hypothetically you were voting on a motion where you felt the correct answer was no. One of my favorite examples is the conference is going to buy you a meal. However, someone suggested anchovies should be part of that meal. I don't like anchovies for my meal, whatever meal it is. So I voted no. So the bishop opened the ballot. I made my submission of a no, and then I sat back in my chair. But then the bishop heard some of the questions coming in and realized that people might have not realized anchovies were an option, not a mandatory requirement. You are fine with them being an option, you just don't want to eat them. So before the ballot closes, while the ballot is open, you have the ability to submit a modification. That is what the Update Vote button will do. You may recall that last year you were here, you were able to modify your vote before the ballot changed by submitting again with your unique voter ID. You can modify how your vote will be recorded in much the same way this year. So you would change from a no to a yes, but you have to do that before the bishop closes the ballot. Once the ballot is closed, there is no way for you to modify your submission. Your vote is cast. This is why we ask you to keep your unique voter ID private. Now, there is one small exception when it might be okay to share your unique voter ID. This is when you may be watching and attending with a small group of people. One of my favorite stories from last year was a 14-year-old granddaughter who worked with her grandmother and the other delegates from her church. She handled the voting for all of them. They told her how they wanted to vote on each ballot, and she inputted that information. This might be a way that it would be okay for you to share your voter ID, but only with someone you trust, a grandchild, a close friend, or a spouse, where you are watching together this virtual annual conference. Let's take a look at our results and see how you all feel about annual conference. It looks like you all overall are very excited about annual conference. Now, not everybody is excited, but that seems to be the way things go. Hopefully, you would be more excited if we were going to be meeting in person. But for today, we'll take those results. Okay, we are going to move ahead to our next practice ballot. The next question we're going to talk through, and this one is particularly divisive, is: does pineapple belong on pizza? Okay, so remember, in the top right-hand corner, you see the voting website. At the bottom is the tech support phone number, but this ballot is not open yet. I am going to declare it open. Click the green Load Ballot button. This will load your ballot. You will now see that it is there. Does pizza belong on pineapple? You can make your choice, yes or no. And then you will be able to submit your choice. Okay, so we are working through this process. We're going to pick up the speed a little bit today. We want this to go more smoothly for you. As we are working through this, remember that you need to be in the web browser with your voter ID, and then you need to make your choice. To get the ballot, you click the green Load Ballot button. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to work through this voting process. Okay, we are preparing to close this ballot. If you still are working on this, I'm going to give you just a few more seconds. I saw a few of you raised your hands. If this is not going well, we want you to call our tech support team. So this ballot is now closed. We are going to begin the process of tabulation and preparing the results slide. While we're doing that, for those of you that need some extra help, please call our tech support team. Find that number in the chat. Give us a call. We want to help you be successful. While we're waiting on those results to be displayed, let's talk briefly again about the Get Recognized feature. That orange button that you find on the voting website, when you click on that, it opens a form. When you fill the form out, like we did earlier, this populates a queue document that the bishop can see. This helps in a fast manner get the information in front of the bishop so that they can guide us through the work of the annual conference session. This is important because we all want to move together and as efficiently as possible. So remember, if you want to be recognized this year at annual conference, you will not be using the Q&A feature. That's how we did it last year. The Q&A feature is only for questions of an informational nature that you would walk to the registration or the help desk and ask, or technical questions of our GNTV team. If you want to speak, if you want to bring an action before the body, it is through the Get Recognized form that you will need to do that. Now we have our results on this most divisive question. It turns out you all have voted in a pretty divided manner and gone away a lot of conferences go. This seems to be a very divided question, a little bit back and forth everywhere we try this. I appreciate you sharing with me how you feel about pineapple. And if you're curious, I really like pineapple on my pizza. I'm sorry that you don't necessarily agree. So we're going to continue on now with the final practice question today. That final question we're going to do is one that my 10-year-old is very concerned about. The question is Pluto a planet? My 10-year-old thinks a certain way about this, and I'm curious how you all feel. So I'm going to go ahead and declare this ballot open. We're going to pick up the pace and start through this process, working through the way this is going to function. Okay, so right now you've clicked the green load ballot button, hopefully. You've seen that the ballot is before you. You've made your choice. I really do care which way you vote. She might ask me when we're done today about how you voted. And now you click that blue submit vote button and you have cast your vote. Okay, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to work through this process. Okay, we are finishing up our voting on this question about Pluto. I am curious to see how you all vote. It has been a little varied in our results, and I'm always curious to know what your opinions are today on this. So I'm going to give you about 15 more seconds to finish up voting. As we get to annual conference, you will find that we're going to hopefully be voting in about 1 minute from start to finish. And so this ballot is now closed. We're going to start our work on tabulation and creating the slide for you to see. If this is not going well for you, I want to share with you our tech support phone number. This tech support phone number can be found on the screen. It's 478-245-4042. If you need it later, it will be in the chat. You can find it there. Please take a picture, write this down, make a note about it. Whatever you can do to be able to successfully participate, we want to help you. So call our tech support team. Let us assist you in being successful. We want to make this work for you. Okay, we have our results about Pluto. It turns out that you all agree with my daughter. That is fantastic. She is very opinionated about this and feels very strongly about this. You know, she's a 4th grader and 10 years old. I think it's great that she is thinking about these kinds of things. So I appreciate you being here with us today. I appreciate you spending the time to be well prepared for annual conference. It is our desire to help you be successful, and so we're going to leave you with the tech support number on the screen. We have practice ballots open. We can help you with these features anytime. Give us a call and let us help you be successful. I hope you have a great day.